Hey man, do you wanna play some board games or something? What is a board games? I only play Roblox for mobile. What? Alright people, let's try this one last time. 3 years ago, I made a video recommending you 5 amazing board games that I love, sitting right here, wearing this jacket. That information is irrelevant, but thought it might be a fun fact for the whole family. It's not. Recently, I've been discovering a lot of really good board games, so I thought, you know what? I'm gonna recommend you 5 more of my recent favorites. Here we go. Right now. I've known about Pandemic for a really long time, but I've only recently got around to playing it. In Pandemic, you and a group of friends work together to save the world from being overwhelmed by 4 terrible viruses in one of the worst outbreaks the planet has ever seen. I've been really into cooperative games recently. It's just such a good feeling when you're working together as a team and it finally clicks and everything just starts falling into place. It's also incredibly entertaining when things go terribly wrong as a team. It's one of those games where there's only one win condition that's fairly difficult to achieve, but then there's like a million ways to easily lose. And in Pandemic, things can and will go wrong very quickly. Oh, you forgot about the blue virus that spread through North America and is now invading the rest of the world? Whoopsie doopsie, nothing you can do about it now. It's super challenging, but what it means is that when you finally get it right, it feels so satisfying. Also, the viruses are represented by these adorable, delicious looking cubes, but they're not edible, so don't eat them. Just trust me, don't eat them. Remember everything I said literally 8 seconds ago about how satisfying it feels to work together as a team? Well, in Chameleon, it's more like proverbially thrusting a sword into the hearts of your friends, and it's like a fire sword. It's a sword on fire. The game works like this. Each round, somebody in the group is randomly, secretly chosen to be the chameleon. Then a secret word is chosen from a specific category, and then everyone other than the chameleon gets to know what the secret word is. Then you take it in turns saying a word that relates to the secret word, which has to be convincing enough to everyone to make them think that you know what the secret word is, but not too specific that you give it away to the actual chameleon. Oh, and if you are the chameleon, you have to lie through your teeth, buddy. Because after everybody has said their word, you have a chance to defend yourself, which is excruciatingly painful if you're the chameleon. Because not only do you have to bluff that your fake-ass word is actually pretty smart if you think about it, but you have to throw someone else under the bus. Oh yeah, Phil is definitely the chameleon. His word was love. Love could apply to any one of these. Definitely the chameleon, you lizard man. Then everybody gets to vote on who they think the chameleon is. And if you get away with it, congratulations, none of your friends trust you anymore. And if you don't get away with it, congratulations, your friends still don't trust you anymore. Sometimes I'm actually very good at being the chameleon, and then other times I'm genuinely very awful at being the chameleon. I was actually introduced to this game by Dan and Phil, and I vividly remember being the chameleon for the first time. Our topic was movie genres, and I thought I'd worked out the secret word. I thought maybe the secret word was sci-fi, so my word was spaceship. Well, Dan immediately responded with, well, we know PJ's the chameleon, but let's keep going anyway. The secret word was foreign language cinema. Now, this is a game that really feels like it shouldn't be a game, but somehow it is, and I love it. In the mind, you and a team of mind-reading geniuses have to work together with a stack of cards that ascend from 1 to 100. And each round, out of that stack, you have a few cards in your hand. Your group has to work together to play the cards in your hand in ascending order without saying a word or communicating anything. Turns out, subtle body language is more powerful than you think. It takes a couple of rounds for the game to really click, but then when it does, it's very, very addictive. Oh, and the suspense is maddening. For example, someone has just played 16. You have 22 in your hand. So you're thinking, this is close. What are the chances that someone has between 17 and 21? But wait, somebody else looks eager to play their card. Do they have 21 or 23 or 24? And then it's this weird mental dance where you have to decide who's gonna play first. I was teaching Chris Kendall to play the other day, and 22 had been played. And then after merely just a few moments of waiting, no one had played yet, so Chris thought, well, I'm gonna go for it. And he played 84. 84, 22 to 8, that's quite a jump. And we lost. Oh, and after a few games in dead silence, it was getting a little bit stale. So we've been listening to some really, really intense music to amp up the tension. Either Hans Zimmer or Ennio Morricone or the Bloodborne soundtrack. When Edmund Macmillan announced that he was doing a Kickstarter for a Binding of Isaac board game, I was like, Yes. Yes. I have sunk hundreds of hours into The Binding of Isaac, a game that's only cost me like 20, 30 quid. I would be more than happy to financially support any creative endeavors that you are going to be going on. Turns out that 38,334 other people had the same idea. The Kickstarter was a huge success, and it resulted in this, The Binding of Isaac. 4 Souls. I'm very impressed that they've managed to take the tone and the feel of the game and make a genuinely very fun card game. It has all of the beautifully disgusting art from the games, and the gameplay itself is as brutal as the video game. You and your friends take turns to loot treasure, kill monsters, sometimes cooperate to kill some of the bigger bosses, and then backstab each other when it's convenient to you. So the friendships you just rebuilt playing the Mind after you broke them playing the Chameleon have just shattered all over again. You're welcome. Dead of Winter is not a game for everyone, but if this video does inspire at least one group of friends to get together and play it and they enjoy it, then I'm very, very happy. I was introduced to this game by Sammy Paul. You may know him from Sammy Paul Bad Boy Discussions to Productions. And since then, I have not only bought the game myself, but I've introduced my own friends to it, and I love it. Dead of Winter is a co-op game where you and a group of survivors have to do just that, survive through one of the harshest winters ever, whilst food supplies dwindle and paranoia sets in and hordes of zombies invade. I love this game for many reasons. Firstly, the strategy element is very similar to Pandemic. Easy to lose, hard to beat, so you really have to think very carefully about all your moves. That's kind of half of the game, and the other half is role-playing. I understand roleplay is not for everybody, but they make it so accessible in this game. Each player gets to start with a couple of survivor characters, and you're going to come up with a bit of a backstory for why they're here in the first place. And these stories can be literally anything you want. And it's so worth it because it adds such a rich, unique flavor to the game. You know, it's like, it's your game. This is your game. No one else is having this experience right now. We played a game where one of the survivors was a daughter who had lost their mother. Well, later in the game, we found another survivor character who we said was the mother. And then it came down to this incredible play where it made the most sense for the mother to sacrifice her own life to save the daughter before they could reunite. It was so dark, yet such a memorable experience for everyone at the table. This story that we had woven together for the past 4 hours was coming to a conclusion. Bleak as hell, yes, but it was our story. I also love that you have to be so careful because your characters can die so easily. I played a game with Dan and Phil recently, and my best character was this hunky firefighter dude who had these amazing combat stats, and in my story, he was gonna be like the hero. He was my main character. I gave him all this cool backstory, and I was good to go. So I was first to play, and I moved him out of the colony to find supplies. He got bit by a zombie and died immediately. It truly felt like we were experiencing a horror film playing out before us. Also, now that I'm more comfortable with the game and can explain the rules myself, which takes about an hour, by the way, I've started writing my own flavorful prompts of where the story starts out and why there's a zombie outbreak that I can read at the beginning of the game. My last game, we were boarded up in the Brighton Pavilion that had been destroyed since the apocalypse. There's also an option to play the game with a betrayer, which means somebody is randomly, secretly, purposefully betraying everybody and sabotaging the colony. Also, there's this amazing mechanic called crossroad cards that activate if certain situations become true. This puts the players in a situation where a pre-written story is read out, and then everyone has to vote on what they want to do, which option to go for. Sometimes the options are good, sometimes bad, sometimes neutral. Thematically, it's incredibly fun to think, what would I actually do in this situation if my dad was a zombie and he was bounding towards me? Oh, and also, I've put together my own playlist of music that we listen to whilst we play the game, and man, it really gets you in the right mindset for it. You also have to play at night, in the dark, because everything is spookier in the dark. There we have it. There are my 5 favorite recent recommendations for you. Let me know if you've played any of them already, and if you have, what you think about them. And if you have any board game recommendations for me, then please leave a comment below. I love that the definition of what constitutes as a board game is becoming broader and broader as more creative people start to develop them. As a kid, I was forced to play Monopoly quite a lot with my family. And no hate if you like that game, but I really don't. Like, how many cool, memorable experiences from Monopoly have stuck in your head? Ah, yes, I remember that time where I went bankrupt and couldn't get out of jail in that never-ending game of Monopoly. Nowadays, I'm having experiences that are genuinely sticking with me. I tried to bluff that I knew the word foreign language cinema by saying spaceship and then immediately got called out for it. That's gonna stick with me for the rest of my life, Daniel. Or in Dead of Winter, where one of my characters was this horrible old man who stole food from the colony and then blamed it on a little kid who got exiled and then froze to death in the wastelands. Yes, that happened. No, I'm not proud. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. And check me out on other social medias like Twitter and Instagram. And maybe stick around, watch a few more of my vids here on YouTube. Stay rad, everybody, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!